Tsuna and Reborn are the two most important characters in the series, and despite their importance to the story, we don't ever really see them fight. But how would that fight go? On the surface, this might seem like a dumb premise. I mean, like, we gotta be honest, Reborn is Tsuna's teacher, so he's probably going to be stronger. But as the series progresses, we start to see more and more evidence that they might be closer than we think. Starting with Tsuna, his main fighting form of choice is the Hyperdyne Will Mode form. In Hyperdyne Will Mode, his internal limiters are removed, which basically releases his hidden awareness, and he gets this cool thing called Hyper Intuition. To unlock your awareness like Tsuna, don't forget to like and subscribe. Tsuna's Flame of the Sky is Sky, funny enough. Now, I'm gonna be honest, the Sky Flame has easily the weakest characteristic in all of Reborn, but it is still something, and that is Harmony. With his Sky Flame, he's able to make soft and hard flames, which he can either use for control or a boost of explosive power. While Tsuna's main method of combat is through flames, he also has the 0-point breakthrough techniques. The first edition lets Tsuna freeze any type of dying will flames, and he makes an ice so crazy that it can't be melted by any ordinary means. And then you have the revised edition. The revised edition lets him absorb the flames of all of his opponents and then turns it into his own. And then you have Natsu, which is Tsuna's box weapon. So Tsuna using Natsu can use something called Cameo Forma, which can be split into two types. There's defense and attack mode. He transforms Natsu into a cloak that can nullify all attacks using the Sky Flame's characteristics. Honestly, if you haven't realized it by now, Tsuna's fighting style is a lot of negating attacks with the Harmony ability and then hitting niggas with crazy hot flame for raw power. And speaking of raw power, it's the perfect time to discuss Tsuna's second cameo form, attack mode. Tsuna has Natsu combined with his gloves to make a gauntlet that allows him to use his attack called Big Bang Axle. Big Bang Axle lets him concentrate his flames to a single point that's capable of rivaling even X-Burner. The X-Burner damn near could get its own video because this is Tsuna's shit. Think Kamehameha, think Rasengan, or Gum Gum Pistol. Basically, it's his La Fuck You 3. By balancing himself with soft flames, he can use hard flames as an explosive blast of fire, channeling his max raw power. And honestly, X-Burner is what Tsuna uses to put niggas in the dirt. Like, this is his magna opus, at least until the Simone arc. In the Simone arc, Tsuna gets a gauntlet type upgrade. Bro's basically got Iron Man arm extensions now, and they're not just for show either. With Tsuna's new cameo form, he's able to release the soft flames from his arm thrusters, which, if you probably didn't realize, lets him do a double X-Burner. So take X-Burner and multiply that shit by 2. To put into perspective how crazy the double X-Burner is, that nigga straight up almost killed Damon Spade off of just one hit with it. So it's probably like a top 10 attack in the series. Rounding out Tsuna's kit is the Oath Flame. The Oath Flame is a combination of the Sky and Earth Flames. It's essentially when Enma's ring fuses with Tsuna's, and it gives him the ability to manipulate the gravity of all kind of things. We even get to see in his fight with Damon Spade, he can reinforce his skeleton by binding the bone fragments together with gravity. In addition to that, he can slow down and immobilize any of his opponents with gravity. But honestly, the coolest way that Tsuna uses the Oath Flame is with his X-Burners, because with the Oath Flame, Tsuna is able to fire X-Burners instantaneously, and he can condense the blast radius. Tsuna with the Oath Flame is one of them ones, essentially. But all in all, Tsuna is probably one of the most versatile fighters in Reborn. And to quote Oda, in a one-on-one fight, always bet on Tsuna, unless the nigga's fighting Reborn. Reborn is stated to be, on many accounts, the strongest hitman in Arcobleno in the world. But we never really get a lot of information on how to scale him until the Curse of the Rainbow arc. Two very important things happen in this arc. One, Reborn has his first on-screen fight as an adult. And two, Tsuna gets way stronger. But it's time for us to see the strongest hitman in his bag. So the first thing I'm going to cover with Reborn is his animal partner, Leon. So Leon's kind of useless, low-key, don't hate on me. Bro can shapeshift into any object and weapon that Reborn chooses fit. Even though like half the time it's really mostly for like gags and like anime kind of shit. But in theory, he could turn to any weapon. Even though realistically speaking, he really just services Reborn's gun, at least in the anime. But Reborn with guns is where this shit really gets real. This is Reborn in his element. Unlike Tsuna, Reborn's fighting style is way more simple. Reborn has guns and hands, and that's it. He doesn't even get to use his Sun Flame that much in the series. But it's still an ability that Reborn has, so I think it makes sense for us to talk about it. The Sun Flame, as you guys probably know, the characteristic of the Sun Flame is activation. He can improve the efficiency of any activity. For example, he can heal up people, he can strengthen himself and others. He can pretty much do everything that involves the activity of anything else. He can make it stronger, faster, smarter, all that. Well, not smarter, but you know what I'm saying. Actually, he can't make it smarter. The only thing with Reborn and the Sun Flame is that it's kind of hard to scale how strong or how good he is with the Sun Flame because we don't really ever see it. But given the fact that he's one of the Mongol's best fighters of all time, I'd wager that he's a master of all things Sun. We do have one thing about Reborn in the series that we know all about, and that's the one attack in the series that he has, his signature attack, Chaos Shot. So depending on if it's anime or the manga, he either uses sun flames or regular bullets. In the anime, his sun flame have homing abilities and it can numb the body part of anything it hits. But it's actually kind of funny because I think it's a cooler ability in the manga. In the manga, the bullets that Reborn shoots always hit their target. There's a couple times in the series that he shoots it into the ground and it still comes up and hits a nigga from a different point. Basically, he has teleporting bullets. But in terms of abilities, that's really all Reborn has. So because of that, we're going to touch on what Reborn does in his fights, because Reborn, he's more of a hands-on kind of fighter. It's time we put them head to head. Unfortunately for us, because he was only in one arc, Reborn has only 2 opponents he fights as an adult, but luckily Tsuna actually fights both of the same people. We're going to touch on both fights and see how they compare to each other. Tsuna, when fighting his father Ametsu, was damn near fodder. I went back and read the fight. This nigga Tsuna was getting his ass beat. I think bro even said like, that's not a real punch, let me show you a real punch. Tsuna was getting his shit smacked. But if you contrast that with the fight with Reborn, it's night and day. Before the fight even begins, Ametsu straight up says, if I don't go 100% against Reborn, I'm going to die. This is one of the craziest fighters of all time. And the crazy thing about the Reborn fight, and this can kind of go to both battles, is that in both fights with Reborn, it doesn't ever really seem like his intent is to win the fight. Reborn against Ametsu especially, his only intention is to teach Tsuna. He's literally blitzing Ametsu multiple times, and the only thing he's really doing is giving Tsuna lessons on how to win the fight. In the fight, Reborn gives us a perfect scale. Reborn's like, yo, nigga, you need to lock in, because Ametsu, your father, he has 100 times more fighting experience than you. He saved the Vongola 100 times more than you, but not more than me. Your father's really, really strong. He's way better than you, just in terms of fighting, but I'm better than him. And if you watch the battle, this nigga Reborn's not really capping. We see in the fight, in the span of a couple seconds, Reborn headbutts Ametsu and he gives him 2 lethal gunshots. Reborn straight up tells Tsuna, like, yo, your dad has put his life on the line for the Vongola hundreds of times more than you. He has 100 times more experience in fighting than you do, but not more than me. And it's kind of funny because that's a perfect scale, because we're doing this video and it's like, yo, Reborn is just better than Tsuna. Obviously, I guess the good point is that this is a statement, like Reborn says this about himself, but if you watch the fight, I mean, you can't really argue that Reborn's lying. In like 50 seconds, Reborn headbutts Ametsu and basically gives him 2 lethal gunshots, all while giving Tsuna a step-by-step guide on how to improve in a fight. Like, that shit is insane. And it is kind of crazy because the fight really ends here, but it's pretty much implied that if Reborn was going all out and trying to kill Ametsu, that nigga would be seeing stars right now. He would be watching a Michael Jackson concert. So, but the thing is, the second time that Reborn is awakened, it's actually more impressive somehow. We all kind of know by now that Reborn is the strongest hitman in the Archipelago in history, and I don't even know if I need to emphasize this, but it's like stated crazy amount. It's said by Byakuran, it's said by Bermuda, it's said so often, it's like damn near lore in the ethos. If Reborn had the Hunter x Hunter narrator, that nigga would be saying it too. That's how obvious it is. It's kind of funny because it's low-key technically not true. In the Curse of the Rainbow arc, we get introduced to a character named Bermuda, who is the secret Archipelago, and he's the true strongest Archipelago of all time. It's actually funny because Reborn will never get this credit, but they low-key did JJK before JJK. We have Reborn versus Bermuda, and it is essentially the strongest Archipelago in history versus the strongest Archipelago of today. Bermuda straight up builds his hype off the strength of Reborn's hype. Just to give people an idea, Bermuda's ability is to instantaneously teleport any distance, and he has like some of the best raw output in the series. And because of this, there's no one who has a chance to even keep up with him. I think before the fight starts, Tsuna even says, yo, I can't keep track of his movements. So no one can beat him. Keep that in mind. No one can beat him. Except for Reborn. Reborn, using just his reflexes, is able to dodge the short warps for a long time. It is said to be 100% impossible to do this, and Reborn is dodging teleportation off of straight instinct. The thing that's funny about Reborn and Bermuda is the fact that Bermuda is only said to be not a normal person because he outsmarts Reborn. If you're not getting the idea yet, the Reborn Tsuna fight, to kind of spoil the video essentially, is a mid-diff at best. That's the best case scenario. Reborn is just too fast, he's too strong, and he's just too smart. Even in Tsuna's past battles, Reborn's battle IQ is always kind of shown to be insane. I think in the Curse of the Rainbow arc, we're seeing Tsuna following Reborn's trail, but we still see in the fight with Ametsu and Bermuda, Tsuna is just a tier or maybe even 2 below Reborn. Like, Reborn can hold itself against Bermuda. Reborn can press out Ametsu pretty easily, and Tsuna can't do any of those things. But in a couple of years, Tsuna will eventually catch up. Give him a couple of years and he will surpass Reborn. Or you could give him another form. Despite this being like a versus battle between Tsuna and Reborn, one of the most important characters in this video obviously is Bermuda. Because Bermuda is stronger than Reborn, he's a great measuring stick for how strong Reborn is compared to Tsuna. And I'm gonna be honest, I haven't really touched too much on the difference between Bermuda and Reborn, but it's established multiple times in this arc. Bermuda is the strongest Archibald ever. Like, it's not close. Even when Reborn fights Bermuda, Reborn never really gets the upper hand. Basically, Bermuda's better than Reborn in every single conceivable way, except for maybe Battle Instinct, and that's like a maybe. There's not a real human character who can hold a candle to a Bermuda. It's just how it is. Until Tsuna gets another form. He awakens the Ultimate Dying Will Mode with the help of Reborn. Ultimate Dying Will Mode is actually a great theme for the series. I've always thought that the Ultimate Dying Will Mode form is the proof of concept of Tsuna's growth. The series always goes out of its way to tell us that at some point in time, Tsuna will surpass Reborn, and he will be one of the greatest members of the Vongola ever. He just needs a little bit more experience. And the Ultimate Dying Will Mode represents all of this. Because of that, it puts Bermuda to shame. Ultimate Dying Will Mode Tsuna is so strong, I had to separate this video into two parts. Hyper Dying Will Mode and Ultimate Dying Will Mode Tsuna. You remember when I said that Bermuda was way stronger than Reborn in every single way? Well, that's Tsuna times 100 in Ultimate Dying Will Mode. Bermuda's teleportation couldn't do shit to Tsuna. Tsuna wasn't even reacting to it. There was even a point in the fight where Bermuda's jumping through a bunch of black holes in order to reach the speed of light, and the nigga gets hit so hard, the nigga starts seeing the stars, and he's like, yeah, Tsuna, you got it. I lose. It's an utter defeat. Ultimate Dying Will Mode Tsuna is the strongest nigga in the series, except for a checkered face, but we don't talk about him. He doesn't count. Ultimate Dying Will Mode Tsuna eviscerates Reborn. It's not close. There is not anything that Reborn can do to hang with this Tsuna. He is tiers faster than Reborn, he's tiers stronger, and he has a much higher flame output. I might even make a video on this, but if Ultimate Dying Will Mode Tsuna fought the entire verse, he probably wins that fight. Neg diff. Like, it's not a close battle, bro. I guess it is kind of nasty because Tsuna can't get this form without the help of Reborn, but like, let's be honest, bro. Who wants to see a fight of Tsuna without full power, full power Tsuna? But if you're not counting that, then Reborn solos pretty easily. I think it'd even be a fight where Reborn is coaching Tsuna up as they're fighting, and then he still drops the nigga off. Honestly, this was kind of fun making it, but let me know if you want to see more fun versus battles like this. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification. I'm out, so peace.